All right, today we're going to be talking about holiday hazards. First of all, welcome. So the holidays are a fun family time, and we don't want them to be marred by an injury or even a death. So the following are some common hazards and prevention tips that we've come up with, and you'll notice common sense goes a long way to make you have a safer home. It's extremely easy to become distracted this time of the year. However, it only takes a second for tragedy to strike. Thanksgiving fire facts. Thanksgiving is the peak day for home cooking fires, followed by Christmas and then Christmas Eve. And the day before Thanksgiving's also got a pretty high volume. So in 2017, U.S. fire departments responded to an estimated 1,600 home cooking fires on just Thanksgiving alone. Based on research from 2013 to 2017, the annual averages were cooking equipment was the leading cause of home fires and fire injuries, and 2/3 of home cooking fires started with the ignition of food or other cooking materials. Clothing was the first item ignited in less than 1% of those fires, but clothing ignitions led to 14% of the deaths. Ranges and cooktops accounted for almost 2/3 of those fires, and unattended equipment was a factor in 1/3 of reported home cooking fires, but they caused half of the deaths. And of all these, deep fat frying and using oil to fry things dominated the cooking fire problem. This is a video that you can watch, shows what happens if you put a frozen turkey into boiling oil. It's pretty dramatic.
Hi, I'm William Shatner, and I love fried turkey. So join my Friars Club. But turkey and oil are a dangerous combination. So watch this video. I want your comments on it. I want to know how you plan to keep yourself, your family, and me safe from turkey fryer fires. I once loved this piece of metal, but our relationship ended suddenly. It started as a hunger. I want a moister, tastier turkey. I want a deep-fried turkey. Back then, everyone was doing it. Turkey fryers flew off the shelves left and right. When I laid my hands on that fryer, I didn't want to let go. Pop. Thermometer. Dingle dangle? Uh-huh. Okay. Hot oil. Wet frozen turkey. Pushed together makes steam. Pushing the hot oil over the top and igniting on the open flame. Don't do that. I learned a great deal, but I was young and arrogant. Blinded by my hunger, I ignored safety. Spat in the face of science. Turn off the flame. Damn it, Bill, that's too much oil. Where's the dingle dangle? Oh my goodness, what have I done? Oh, ow, 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 ow. Oh, look at this. Oh, that is so stupid. I loved you, but you only brought me pain. That fryer took so much from me. Mostly arm hair, little skin. But it gave me a healthy fear. Fire, metal, oil, and turkey are glorious when in harmony.
Turkey fryer. I always wanted to try that.
But their power is unrelenting in careless hands.
And it even has the dingle dangle.
Hi, I'm William Shatner, and this is my thing. Fried turkey. Tastes great. So dangerous, you can't even imagine. I've burned myself, almost burned my house down. It's a great taste, but you gotta be safe.
Hey, wait till I get out here. Yeah.
You can't use it absorbent.
Another possible potential for injuries is scalding injuries, and a lot of this has to do with little ones. Scalds are the leading cause of burn injuries, particularly in young children and senior adults, because their skin's just a little bit thinner, so they don't handle the heated water or whatever it is as well as medium-aged people. So 40% of all treated burns, and 1/3 of those hospitalized are from scalds. So they're very common. Hot liquids can cause first, second, and third degree burns depending on the temperature of the water or liquid and the length of exposure. And at 155 degrees, a third degree burn can occur within 1 second. So, and it goes down to like, I think even at 120 degrees, it's only 4 or 5 seconds that you can have a deep burn that way. And that's not a very high temperature when you consider cooking. And 75% of all burns to young children are scalds, and 40% of scald injuries are to children 0 to 4, infants and toddlers. The risk of a scald injury could be greatly reduced just by turning down the temperature on your hot water heater from the high setting or a warm setting. I know it's nice to take a nice hot shower, but I'd set it at most at a warm setting, 120 to 130 degrees. Just gives you a little bit of leeway in there that if somebody was accidentally exposed, it might not get to be a bad burn. So Christmas fire facts. Same time frame between 2013 and 2017, U.S. fire departments responded to an average of 160 home fires per year that started with Christmas trees. These fires caused an average of 3 deaths, 15 injuries, and $10 million in property damage. On average, 1 of every 52 reported home fires that began with a Christmas tree resulted in a death. That's a pretty high percentage compared to the average of 1 death per 135 regular home fires. Electrical distribution and lighting equipment was involved in 44% of Christmas tree fires. In 1/4 of the Christmas tree fires, some type of heat source, such as a candle, some type of equipment that built up heat, was too close to the tree. And roughly 3/4 of Christmas tree fires occur in December and January, obviously. And 2 of every 5, or about 40% of those fires, start in the living room. So this is another video that shows just how dramatically and how quickly a Christmas tree can catch on fire. And it's very hard to keep these the needles in the tree itself hydrated and with enough water in it. Typically they always dry out. And you notice that at the end of the year when you get rid of your tree by the pile of needles all over the floor. So it's really important to keep them watered. So as soon as you get your Christmas tree, it's like, how often do I water my live tree? Well, for the first 7 to 10 days, make sure you get a lot of water to it, because it's still taking up water into the trunk and the branches and stuff. Obviously, the longer it goes that it's been cut, the less it can do that. So for a standard sized tree with a trunk diameter of about 5 inches, you want to maintain at least 5 quarts of water in your stand each day. And that's, like I say, you really got to think about it to do that, because everything gets hectic and you just forget, hey, I've got to put water on the tree. So decoration hazards. U.S. fire departments responded to an estimated average of 780 home structure fires per year that began with decorations, excluding Christmas trees. These fires caused an annual average of 3 civilian fire deaths, 34 civilian fire injuries, and about $12 million in direct property damage. In more than 2 of every 5, about 44% of those fires, the decoration was too close to a heat source, such as a candle or some kind of equipment. 1/5, or about 20% of the decoration fires, started in the kitchen. 16% started in the living room, family room, or den. And then about 20%, the 20% of those fires occurred in December. So always inspect lights before you hang them or plug them in. Check for frayed wires, broken bulbs and sockets, and loose connections. Those problems indicate fire and electrocution hazards. Keep in mind that the larger a bulb is, the more heat it will generate. So inspect surfaces once you plug them in and look for damage. Look for spots that may be starting to turn brown or something that's showing that there's kind of a heat buildup there. But regardless of your preference, like color, uncolored, large bulbs, small bulbs, make sure that the box you get has that little UL seal on it. That's the Underwriter's Laboratory. They do extensive testing on these, so you know you're getting the safest product out there. So candle hazards. On the average, 22 home candle fires were reported each day, between 2013 and 2017. 3 of every 5, about 60%, started when something that could burn, such as a furniture, mattress, bedding, curtains, decorations, were too close to the candle. Candle fires peak in December and January, with January rating second. 18% of December candle fires started in the living room and 8% in the dining room, compared to 14% and 3% during the rest of the year. 2 peak days for candle fires were Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. And I've actually had candle fires at my home. My wife started the house on fire a couple times with those things, especially if you have kids. You put a candle out there, they can throw something on it, just forget it's there. They are very hazardous. They've got some really nice battery-operated ones now. So this is just a really short little clip of candle fire, and shows just how that flame does not have to be touching whatever it's going to catch on fire. The heat is actually coming off the top of that flame and can reach actually quite a distance from where that candle is.
Without touching them, the heat from a candle flame can burn things around it. It's not magic, but if you look away, your home could disappear. Use candles safely.
So, some safety tips for the candles. If you're going to leave the room or go to bed, make sure you blow the candle out. One of the hazards with that too is if you let them burn too long, sometimes you might not even see that flame down there, but they're getting down near the bottom of the little jar or whatever they're in. Avoid using candles in the bedroom or areas where you have the potential to fall asleep. In case you kick it over while you did fall asleep and you've probably got pillows and blankets around you. Keep candles at least 12 inches away from anything that can burn. Use candle holders that are sturdy and won't tip over easily. There's all kinds of shaped candles out there. Just make sure whatever you get that you've got something that will actually hold it in place. And actually it's nice if you can actually get something underneath that candle to get it up off of the table or whatever you're setting it on. Light candles carefully. Keep your hair and any loose clothing away from the flame. Don't burn a candle all the way down. Put it out before it gets too close to the bottom of the container. It does generate heat, and even when it gets that oil around the wick down there, That's all heating up. Sometime you're burning a candle like that, just move it over and feel the surface right underneath it, and you'll notice that it gets fairly warm. Never use a candle if oxygen is used in the home. If somebody has to be on supplied oxygen, that just increases the burning of a flame. Have flashlights and battery-powered lighting ready to use in case you lose power. You don't ever want to use a candle. Top 10 safety tips. There's 1,000 tips out there for this time of the year. These are just a few of them. Stay in the kitchen when you're cooking on the stovetop, so you can keep an eye on the food. Stay in the home when cooking your turkey. Check on it frequently. I know it takes hours to conventionally cook a turkey. Just try not to leave the house when you're doing it in case something goes wrong. Keep children away from the stove. The stove will be hot and kids should stay at least 3 feet away, and little ones are always curious. Everything's happening. They want to be out in the kitchen. The potential for some type of accident's pretty high. Make sure that kids stay away from hot food and liquids. The steam or splash from vegetables, gravy, or coffee could cause serious burns. Keep any knives out of the reach of children. Be sure electrical cords to any appliance that you may be using, like an electric knife, coffee maker, plate warmer, mixer. Make sure the cord's not hanging close to the edge of the counter or even over it. Like I say, just another thing that seems to attract the little ones. They just want to grab it and then want to pull it down on them. Keep matches and utility lighters out of the reach of children. Keep them up high, locked up if you can. Never leave children alone in a room with a lit candle. Their curiosity will get the better of them. Keep the floor clear so you don't trip over kids, toys, pocketbooks, or bags. And make sure your smoke alarm is working. You can test it by pushing that little button, or you can even go to the hardware store and pick up a little can of canned smoke. So that actually, when you push the button, you're testing the battery to make sure you have power. If you get the smoke in the can, you're actually testing the sensor itself. 6 more holiday hazards to avoid, pretty basic ones. Don't stand on chairs or furniture. If you're hanging something, make sure you're using the right equipment. There are poisonous plants and stuff around the holidays, like mistletoe, holly berries, Jerusalem cherry. Keep those away from kids. They're going to be colorful. They're going to think it's candy. Make sure you use the right kind of kitchen utensils. Make sure your knives are sharp so you don't have to push as hard, so if something happens you don't cut any deeper than you have to if something slips off, catches your finger or something. Don't post on Facebook or social media that you're going to be gone for the holidays or anything. People do keep an eye on stuff like that. Don't let your Christmas tree dry out. We talked about that. Takes quite a bit of water, and especially as soon as you get it, make sure that you put a lot in there so it pulls it up inside the tree and keeps it that way. If you do notice your tree getting too dry, I mean, you hate to have to go get another one and maybe it's too late in the season, but you may want to consider something like that, because once those needles become dry, they go up. Well, you'll see in the video that you watched before. It's crazy how fast that burns. And try to avoid, if you have a working fireplace, throwing your Christmas wrapping paper, boxes, whatever in there. It'll kick out a little bit more smoke. It doesn't burn quite as clean as the wood does, so it can start to mess up the size of your flue. It's just not safe. So in closing, thank you for your interest in holiday safety. And here at Urbana Fire, we wish you and your family a wonderful holiday season, and remember, be safe.